any idea that you have, there's 20, 30 people out there probably in the same neighborhood already working on that. So time is your enemy in every possible aspect of everything. My experience is really that the US market is much more advanced, mature, shorter sales cycle than the European one. So to your question, a company out of Poland, how isn't that complicated in the US? I would say the contrary. It's easier to sell in the US today, 2025. We do not live on a saturated drone market.
Okay.
The moment that you look out the window and you're going to see, the moment that you look out the window, instead of birds, you see drones flying around, that's when you start to think, okay, it is saturated. My biggest concern, my biggest scare is that in an emergency, somebody's drowning or a house collapse or an accident on the road, and the police needs to launch it immediately, and it doesn't work. That is my nightmare.
Hello, this is Maciej Frankowicz from Hard2beat. And today we're going to have a podcast together with James Buchheim, who is the CEO and founder of DefendEye, a portfolio company of ours that we have invested in May. We're going to talk not only about DefendEye, their product, their market, but also about Jimmy's entrepreneurship story. How is it possible to be speaking with him in Krakow? As you can imagine, he is an American. So the podcast will be held in English. So hopefully it will be a pleasure for you to hear me trying my best language-wise. But also outside of that, I think it will be really worth spending a while. So thank you so much. And let's hear it from Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for finding the time to speak with us and with me. So we're here at the Hard2beat Podcast. This is the format we have decided to start and go with to show off a little bit our investments, our founders, and also to provide some knowledge to the community. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
It's today, of course, we're going to talk about DefendEye that we invested, I think, in May. But then again, as we have you with an amazing founder's story, I'm really excited to hear more. Of course, we have talked about, but I'm sure there are many more stories you can tell. So the first question I really wanted to ask you is like, how is it possible that we're meeting in Krakow here? Like, what's your story? What's Jimmy's story?
Why I'm here?
Yeah.
Well, it's really a long story, but I'm here because so I've made many companies in my life. I founded and made successful exits on all of them. But my hardest problem was always finding talent. When you're creating, I'm in technology, so software, hardware,
right,
a mix of those, cloud. And my biggest problem was always hiring talent, getting people. And throughout my career, I lived in Miami, and it was always very hard. Hard because you don't have the talent there. Hard because it is very expensive to hire an engineer in the US. And I just happened to have to learn that there are some possible grants in Poland that I should take notice for my next startup. And I said, okay, let's go check it out. I was just trying to figure out where I'm going to be doing my next company with my next thing. I knew that I wanted to build a drone company. I believe that drones are really, we haven't even looked at what is saturation of drones yet. I think that we can talk about it later, but I think that drones are going to be very much in the future of mankind.
Sure.
And this is the best time because of what's going on military around the world and in Europe. So I was looking into Europe, and then I came here to visit, and I really fell in love. Krakow, beautiful city, but mostly I found out that if you throw a stone in any direction, you're probably going to hit an engineer. and I was amazed how easy it is to find engineers. I was amazed at the quality of engineers, people that are very smart, people that are dedicated, and also the salaries, that the cost of an engineer is about a fourth literally a fourth of what it is in the US. It's about a half of what it is in. I went to Taiwan. I was flying all over Israel, trying to interview engineers, and I was really amazed that it is a fourth of
Perfect.
the US, but you have really good talent
Right.
and people that are dedicated. And I started looking into the fact, and some guy showed me, what are you looking for? And I said, okay, show me AI low-level hardware engineers. We looked at LinkedIn. There are like 30, 40 candidates just on LinkedIn that live in Krakow. Wow. Do the same comparison in Miami, you'll find 10. You'll find 5. And they're
Right.
not really, they're really not possible candidates. So
Right.
that is the reason.
Perfect.
Sorry for expanding.
No worries.
But that is the reason
No
that
worries.
you
So-
find me here.
We often brag about that. So, for example, when we think about Poland as a geography, as let's say a community of people that want to build something, we often brag about our engineering talent. But then again, what we lack, and we always try to learn from Americans, but also Western Europeans, is talent in sales and operations. Maybe we're getting better in product, but we're not that open for, we don't have the skills to really do like a proper business development, right? So when we've seen your idea and DefendEye, when we first met and talked about that, this is really what we were looking in. So, okay, finally, perhaps there is someone that can utilize the talent, right? Because you have the skills, the skill set, you have been, growing over the past, 20 years, let's say, and you know how to utilize the talent, right? So I wanted to ask about this previous businesses and endeavors of yours. Like, of course, I know Bluvision, and I've heard, like, we've discussed many times about this story. But how did you become an entrepreneur? Like, when did that started?
It started off in Israel when I was living in Israel. That I guess I was 21 years old.
Okay.
I was going to the university, and I just wanted to do my own thing. So it started off that at that time, it started off that there was peace between Israel. So the real story that not a lot of people know was that there started to be peace between Israel and Jordan, and I was really excited about this peace. The year was 1994, 1995, and I decided that I'm going to be selling stuff from Israel to Jordan, and I'm going to go one of the first guys to go there and see what is missing in the market, or from Jordan to Israel. I wanted to utilize that new partnership. So I went to Jordan, and so I have a foreign passport, so it was easy for me to go there. And this was just as the peace treaty was being signed with President Clinton and Rabin and all that. And it was really exciting. So I went there, and I found out that computer prices were almost double or triple than they were in Israel. And I go, wow, why is it so expensive? A computer that costs $1,000 in Israel, it's $2,000 or $3,000 in Jordan. And I was really wondering, why is that? And there were not a lot of distributors. So I decided, okay, there's actually a good idea. I will buy used computer parts in Israel, and I will export them to Jordan. And I thought that was a great idea, because in Israel, everybody wants the latest, the greatest, and I'll just buy used parts. And I was 21. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go once more again and see how is it complicated. Do I need a license, export, import, all that stuff? So I went again to Jordan. I went to the ministry, again, 21 years old, asking questions there to the Ministry of Import or Commercial. I went to the Chamber of Commerce, different. And I found out that there was like 300% duty tariffs on anything that is computers. And I'm like, So there goes my idea. But I really liked that idea. And so I decided that I will try to bring in parts from Taiwan, then it was Taiwan, not China, I wanted to see how I can build cheap parts before that to Jordan. So I started already sending out letters. And so I said, okay, maybe I'll find some really cool idea and I'll bring it to Israel. I I just went to, I sent a lot of, then it was fax machines. I sent a lot of letters, fax, and I got a lot of replies of stuff that was not available nowhere. And so I started importing. I didn't have a lot of money. I started importing that stuff to Israel, but I had crazy ideas. So I decided, and I had great success. People were buying the stuff that I was importing. So I decided to go to Taiwan and meet the guy. And I told him, listen, I have some great ideas. Would you be my partner in designing these ideas? I can bring the engineers. I can come up with the ideas, and you'll produce it for me. He was really excited. And he asked, what ideas do you have? And I was like, MP3 players. And so this was already, I for 2 years ahead, but yeah, this was 1998. And so it was the beginning of MP3 players. He was fascinated. The guy's name was Dean. And I had really good meetings with him. And slowly but surely, we designed the world's first hard drive-based MP3 player. And my agreement with him was that I will have exclusivity rights in the US, and he will manufacture it. He will bear all the cost of manufacturing it. I brought in all the engineers. I did all the development, the design. He also helped. We both worked on that. And in 1999, end of 99, I moved to New York, opened up the company there, and started selling MP3 players, hard drive based, that became really popular. And that's how I got into engineering, designing, selling,
right,
and so on.
And as far as I know, you didn't take a step back from this entrepreneurship route. Since
then, it's been I when I sold Bluvision, the M&A lawyer that on our side that was helping us, he goes to me. It was a big event selling Bluvision. The purchaser was HID Global, which is part of Asaboy, and the lawyer he goes to me. Listen, this is a big exit. You are a hot CEO. After you do your time and you finish your time with HID, it could be a year, 2 years. It ended up being 3.5 years. But whatever time you do there, if you send your resume, you'll be like a hot potato. They'll take you. In any startup, they will want you. And I was thinking to myself, nah, I'm not going to be a CEO for any other company, only for myself. And so, I had challenging times after COVID, like everybody did. It was challenging. I left the HID or Bluvision HID. After COVID, I left. And it was challenging because, whatever money you have, it's never enough.
Right.
I didn't have a lot. I had a divorce and also, although all that, but still, whatever you have, I was living in New York, and it's not enough. You need income. So, but I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to do my stuff. I can do my stuff. I know how to build stuff. Yeah. I love building stuff.
Right. So, can you? This last big exit you had was Bluvision. Can you shortly describe what was the business about and what scale of business you've managed to build?
So it was indoor location.
Right.
And to explain that, indoor location, everybody has a GPS on their phone, and you open Google Maps and it shows you where you are really good, but it doesn't work indoors. It works outdoors because satellites, they have a signal outdoors.
Yeah.
Indoors, you do not know. And believe it or not, business-wise, it's really important to know where things are indoors. Not only people, but things. If you think about a hospital, sure, you want to know where the nurses and the doctors and the patients are. As an example, you do not want an infant, a baby that was just born, leaving out the nursery without his parents or without the right approval. So there is a need for indoor for humans. There is a need for, at that time, like before COVID, we were able to know if a doctor or a nurse, if they go to a room, did they wash their hands or not? Because we were able to know, did they go to the area that you wash your hands? So this is use case of humans where they are.
Right.
But assets from AKG machines to ventilators to IV pumps, you want to know where they are. Because there's a ROI, huge ROI. You have to lease them. Maybe you need less, and so on. Because maybe they're all in the basement, and so on. So the idea was indoor location. We used the Bluetooth beacons, created a cloud that all the heavy lifting of the location, triangulation, trilateration, then we used machine learning, was in the cloud, and And it was quite niche. It is still quite niche today. But yeah, there's a huge ROI, and we were able to get a lot of interesting parties, not only HID, but there were other companies who wanted to acquire this technology.
Right.
We started the company, the idea of Bluvision was 2014, and it was sold end of 2016, so it was really short.
Right. Very close. Have you already made the numbers public?
Of the sale?
Yeah.
I mean, no, it was not ever public, but I think that I have an NDA for 5 years, and it's been more than 5 years.
Right.
So it was 40 million plus 20 million earnout, so a total of 60 million dollars.
Right. So amazing achievement, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you know that Krakow was called back in 2015 or something like a Beacon Valley? At least it was called basically in Krakow.
True, I know that. I lived there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm here.
Okay,
because
interesting.
So there are two companies there's actually three companies.
Yeah.
But you've got Estimate and you have Contact.io.
Exactly.
And the CEO then of Contact.io, we let's say we were not in best good friends, but I knew about him, he knew about me, Shimon. And when in 2021, when I was looking, where should I do my next thing? I contacted Shimon. Hey, what do you think about Krakow? He goes, you have to come here. He's the one.
Okay.
He's because of him, because of Shimon Nimtura, I'm here. The CEO, the ex-CEO of Contact.io. He's the reason that I'm here.
Perfect.
He's the one who showed me
the
light.
So thank you, Shimon, also from us.
Yes.
From bringing the talent to Poland. This is also what we try to do once in a while. Okay, so let's talk DefendEye. Like, can we start with like a personal story? So, like, when did you come up with the idea?
So the idea has been, I've always liked drones. Drones was a passionate that I had. I learned how to fly small airplanes. I was a private pilot. I did my first solo in 9/11 in New York, actually. So I was flying when that happened, and I had to land. But I was always fascinated by airplanes.
Really? Like, just a second, you've been flying a plane?
I was flying a plane with 9/11 in New York. I was in New Jersey flying.
Really?
Which is the airspace of New York. I did my first solo, which was 2 touch and goes, and the last was for final. Okay. And on my second touch, I saw the smoke coming out of the building when I was up in the air. I was about 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers from the buildings. Caldwell Airport. That's where I did my solo. It was about 60 kilometers, I believe, line of sight. Yeah. And I saw the smoke. I didn't understand what's going on. It was 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. And the air traffic control, I requested permission to come for a touch and go, which means touch and go, you just touch and then you fly again. I was supposed to do 2 touch and goes. So I did my first one. On my second one, they said, no, you have to come for a full stop.
Right.
Because we're closing the airspace. And I started to argue, no. I have one more, and then I will come for a full stop. And they said, no, you have to come for a full stop. And then I heard on the walkie-talkie, my instructor, he was on the ground. He goes to me, Jimmy, don't argue. Come for a full stop. I will explain later.
Okay.
So he said that, and I came for a full stop. And I didn't understand why. I was pissed getting out of the airplane. What's going on? They damaged my solo. And then he explained to me what's going on. And by that time, when it happened, only the first tower was hit.
Right.
So the second tower was hit when I was already on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah, very, very personal. But let's go back to DefendEye. Like, how did you come up with the idea?
So again, this was end of 21, the middle of 21. I was living in New York, took down the dog for a walk, and the building next to my building was on fire. And I heard, it happened, it really unfolded in front of me, everything. There were alarms, smoke, and then very fast I saw fire trucks coming all over. Very, very fast. They came from all over the place. And I was watching I was with the dog, it was there, and they're not going in the building. And I was like, what's going on? Is there maybe some nuclear, biological, why they're not going in the building? And then this other car comes in, 2 guys, they take out this briefcase, Pelican, a little table, open the briefcase, all the time in the world. They take out this drone, put the battery, they take this remote controller, connect, they're waiting for it to connect to it. And then the chief of fire comes to them and says, can we go in? And he goes, waiting for GPS.
Right.
And I look around. There's a lot of buildings. It's going to take a while until they get GPS acquisition. About a minute or 2 minutes later, they got the drone flying. It flew over the building, over the comms. They say, yeah, you can go there. This is the hot areas. Smoke is going in that direction.
Right.
And
so they had some thermal cameras.
Cameras, exactly. Thermal. They flew around. And immediately all the firefighters went into the building. And these two guys, one was the pilot and the second one was a spotter.
Yeah.
Not the same guy. One flies, the other one looks. And they're not going into the building to help. And I'm looking, they finished. They open up a thermos. They drink coffee. They start talking about the Mets or the Yankees. And 5-10 minutes later, they pack up their bags, go in the car, and they leave. And I was, wow, this did just not that happen. I mean, it took them 3 minutes from the moment they arrived, maybe 5. I didn't measure it, but it seemed for a very long time that the drone was flying in the air. And 2 guys. Yeah. And I looked it up. They're making a lot of money, $80,000, $90,000 a year each one. And you don't need 2 guys. Imagine per station, you need probably 5 or 6 guys.
Right.
So it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I understood that there is a new category, there's no drones in the world, to my knowledge, still today, that are designed to fly really fast. I guess the fastest one that you can get up and flying is a DJI Mavic professional drone.
Right.
That you just tuk and it can go fly, but it still takes 1.5 to 2 minutes before it can fly. And isn't there something that you can just launch without a remote control? Why do you need a remote control? If there's a building with fire, it can automatically just go up and fly, and it can detect. All that can be done automatically today or autonomously. Why do you need to wait so long to, sure, GPS. Okay, but GPS is not the only means of navigation available that we have today. Sure, there's winds, and you need to stay on top and know where you are. But again, I understand that GPS takes 1 to 2 minutes. There are other technologies. You cannot do that. And so I understood that I wanted to make a drone. I wanted to make a drone with the AI. I was already in Bluvision. We designed indoor location using... Then we were calling it machine learning. Today, everything with machine learning is just called AI, but it was AI. I was really fascinated by AI. I wanted to utilize AI in a drone, and this was the perfect way of solving first responders' problem, getting a drone up in the air really, really fast without a pilot, without anybody piloting, where the officer, the rescue worker can actually go and do their work. They can rescue, they can do whatever they need to help, rescue, run after criminals, whatever it is that they need to do, protect, they can do that. And the drone is just up there without anybody flying it.
Right.
And this is what I wanted to do.
Perfect. So fast forward a couple of years, and the product is live right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So can we talk about the product? Like how does the?
So here
I understand that.
So this is our product. This is our generation 1.
Right.
Which is a launch tube, as you can see, that we've been working on this project since 2022. I moved in with my family 2023. We have crashed, to my knowledge, about 750, we're counting.
750
drones,
units.
Wow. So far. We have crashed. And we've been crashing up until June of this year.
Okay.
So up until June of this year, if you would ask me, say May, can you come and do a demo? I would say at May, 50% chances that it will crash.
Right.
For so many reasons. The difference between launching a drone with a remote control and having full autonomous is that there's no human to prevent XYZ of happening. Whether there's something that falls off, whether there's high winds, whether you don't have GPS or you don't have navigation, there's always a human that can bring it back. So even if there's wind and it has no navigation, a human can always, do the contrary move and take over it, so it'll come back. But here we didn't want no human, no touching, fast in the air. And so all this, how do we make it fast? And so we started off 3 years ago by trying to figure out how do we get the drone up in the air really fast. So we started using explosives. Really, we had a rocket. We had a drone with a rocket engine,
Okay.
I have a lot of videos that we crashed here in Krakow also, that we were flying the rocket engine. It was a D, and then we moved to an E type rocket. And then we brought in experts. So one of our co-founders, ex-military, he brought in many experts, and they all said, listen, if you're going to use a rocket engine, maybe for military is good, but it's not good for first responders.
Right.
Nobody's going to use a rocket in the middle of the city. Okay, so we had to go to motors, obviously. How do we make it go up fast? And so we said, okay, let's use pneumatic. Let's use compressed air. We even designed a potato gun. But instead of a potato, a drone.
Yeah.
But the same idea, the same concept, getting some propane and a lighter and mixing the air. We tried many things, but it was not reliable. Nothing was reliable enough. And then we used a spring-loaded that you had to, like a crossbow, that you have to really pull it down. And then when you let it go, shoo, it shoots up the drone up in the air. But it was killing the drone. It was very unreliable. The idea, as one of my co-founders says, if it has to be able, my grandmother has to be able to launch it.
Right.
And so that was the idea. So then one of our guys came up with, hey, we have a motor. Let's just fly out of it by ourselves. We can do it really fast. Okay, how do we do that? So we came up with a very nice idea, which is one of our patents. And that is that the canister has a servo that is being locked. Here are just some springs, and it just opens up, which I'm going to do it right now. And it has wings, that the wings of the drone just open up by the canister that is holding them in place. So if I can do it right now, all you have to do, I'm just going to do a simulation. If you want to launch it, you turn it on, which is really arming, and you launch it. And when you're launching it, what really happens, I'm going to do it manually, but this happens automatically.
Right.
Is this happens. So what you just saw is the canister open and the arms unfold. There's a spring loaded in the middle, and they just unfold. And now the motors turn on, and it flies by himself. So that is the product, and it takes us about 10 seconds. So comparing this to a 2 or 3 minute, 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, really depends, but on the version. But yeah, so very, very fast. It goes up in the air. It does not use GPS. We do have a GPS as a backup, but we're not relying at all on GPS. But we're using optical flow. So we have an optical flow camera, a separate camera, that we calibrated with our barometric pressure on every altitude all the way up to 100 meters. So it can fly up to 100 meters or about 400 feet. It can fly without any GPS and can stay on winds of about, I would say, I've flown it higher, but safely 45 to 50 kilometer per hour winds.
Right.
I had a demo at 57 kilometer per hour wind. Not very efficient. A drone stayed in the air, hold its position, but it can hold safely 45 to 50 sustained with no GPS on the same position. Of course, you can take it different locations. It has a range of about 1 mile from the launch tube. The launch tube acts as a relay. So it's 1 mile between the two.
Right. So my understanding is that you can probably talk for hours about the product.
Yes.
So, but just to somehow summarize that, the drone launches automatically.
Yes.
It goes up to the air, and it can locate humans.
It has built-in AI that we've trained, and it can locate a human in any position, lying down, sitting, or standing.
Right.
And it can do different patterns of search. And if it finds a human, it can just stay above him, or it can track him, or just stay above the launch tube.
Right.
It has day and night capabilities. So in night, we do not use a thermal camera. We use infrared with very strong spotlights. So we use 10 watts. So it can see in the night 50 meters altitude. It can see not a dog, but it can see a dog's tail at night, where there's zero visibility. I mean, zero light, no stars, no moon, nothing.
Right.
The AI will do all that, and it can fly 10 minutes all the way to 35 minutes, and it's $600 per drone. So it's not expensive.
So, like, from the perspective of those firefighters that you have met,
yes,
like if they had your product, like if they had DefendEye, like what would be the outcome?
So this would be installed on the car, on the vehicle, on the truck, fire truck. with a launch mechanism from the indoors. They just launch it up in the air. When they arrive on scene, where they're parking, they don't even need to deploy humans. They will deploy humans when it's already up in the air, meaning that the drone will fly the moment the truck arrives. And already the command center will see live videos from the drone. The launch tube has a built-in cellular modem that relays the video. And we built the whole cloud on AWS that relays that video.
So the operator can see also what's happening.
Operator would see what happens.
Yeah.
People just go inside. They will understand the operator or whoever launches it. They can either take control of it or the command center can take control of it and just fly over this specific building.
Right.
And now they have complete eyes on the sky above whatever they're doing before they even turn on the water, before they even get out of the truck.
Perfect. So what we were really interested to hear that, of course, these are functionalities, but also that you got them on this type of hardware. Like, so this is a lightweight drone.
Yes,
right?
250 grams.
Exactly. And you've been able to pack it all up into like a pretty small bill of materials, I would say.
Right.
Right. So you can sell the drone for like, plus the launch tube for like 1,000.
So we sell, our model is we sell a Pelican case that has 2 drones.
Right.
Each one is in its own canister. So the canister, you just unlock it here, like this. And now I can put a new canister with a drone inside, and you're ready to launch. So 2 canisters with 2 drones and 1 launch tube, 1 year of cloud service. And we sell that for 1,500 euros or $1,600.
Right. Got it. So out of all of this, what was the most difficult part to get right?
Ooh, that's a great question. I guess the hardest thing that we started off 2 years ago was the AI. Getting the AI not on an NVIDIA chip.
Right.
NVIDIA chip, the Jetsons are the cheapest. The entry level, $700, very heavy.
Exactly.
A lot of power. So getting it into a low cost, this was the hardest thing. I will save the worst for last. Which I mentioned already, but I'll save that, the hardest one, for last. And I think that's the differentiator between a startup and a real company. So I will wait for last. So getting the AI chip and training, getting all that working was hard. Getting the ratio of thrust for weight on the motors, getting the right motors, getting down to the level of the pitch of the blades of the propeller, really understanding that. So we had to really become professional in everything that is on the drone. What today drone makers, if you're not a professional, if you don't understand what pitch your propellers are, don't play with it. You have to really learn and understand, control every aspect of the battery, the energy density of the battery, understanding all that very low level. If you don't understand that, I would say don't even play with drones because you're not going to succeed. There's so many components that make it. Weight was a big problem. Getting it down to 250. We were 250 2 years ago, but then we had to add optical flow. We had to add this. We had to add that. Suddenly we are at 340 grams. How are we going to lower that? And then one of our engineers, he came and he said, well, it was not one. It was a whole team who came to us and said, there's a difference. Okay, I'll work on this. I will lower weight. We'll do this. Starting to lower weight. One of the guys said, instead of, let's use this part wood. As you can see here, the drone is made partially wood. And actually, we cut the wood from plywood with a laser cutter, so it sheets really fast. But the wood actually came out really good because it buffers the vibration. So when the camera vibrates, the wood is much better than plastic. But it was lighter, cheaper and lighter. But then we decided to print this with a special material that is with carbon. So carbon composite inside the filament gave us ultra, it's almost hollow inside, but it's really strong. And it gave us that very low weight, but really strong. And it was not that expensive because we could use 3D printers for that. So we got more 3D printers. Today we have like 16 in the office, in the company. But getting the weight down was a big challenge. Another challenge was actually how to make it without an operator that they don't need an app. We didn't want to give apps because
Right.
everybody, okay, if you have the app, how do you integrate? It's going to take forever integration. So we had a crazy idea. Let's use appless.
Right.
No app. What does that mean? That the LaunchTube becomes a web server and it's changing the format of the drone's video in real time into HTML5. So now your web browser becomes, in essence, your controller.
Right.
And so that was also another challenge. Now, to the hardest challenge of all that I said, the hardest challenge of all was putting everything together and flying, not one flight, but having 10 out of 10 that you're successful. And this was the hardest because, yeah, we had a good flight, but it was a good flight if you're standing up with one leg and the sun is shining and it's a Tuesday and there's no winds, or there is winds but only flowing from that direction. I'll just explain. We had issues clearing the launch tube, clearing. So if the wind was pushing in this direction and it was pushing the drone against it, it used to get stuck. And so we added this sleeve. And we had to use a ring, and there was a lot of stuff. Everything was, and that's what makes the difference between, I guess, a toy or a startup and a company. Not that we're going to succeed. I'm hoping that we're going to succeed, but I think that go again, go to the drawing board, do it again, be persistent, do it again, do it again, do it again. I had a lot of help from a lot of experts who came and helped us, and really shared with us. You have to have the worst conditions. You have to fly 10 out of 10 in every possible scenario.
Right.
You have to have so many hours of flying. We understood that. Not just 1 hour, but so many hours of flying that you know that the platform that you have will deliver. And that was the difference. And it happened in June.
Okay.
June of this year.
So it happened in June. We speak in October. So this is no longer a prototype, right? This is the product that you're
Correct.
already selling
production.
and showcasing
That's right.
and demoing, etc. So,
Yes.
who are the early adopters? Has anyone already? Where are you business wise, in production wise?
So yeah, I don't want to disclose our early adopters, the companies, because I don't have the rights. But we have from military to first responders, in Europe, in the US, in Israel, who have already placed orders or are on the way to placing the orders. We started a roadshow in September, really showing working prototypes, showing that it is a product, that it works. And everywhere we go, they go like, wow, really, it's so simple. It does work. And what we get everywhere is, I haven't seen anything like this.
Right.
It's a completely new category.
So maybe you cannot tell names, but at the same time, as far as I know your schedule, it's pretty busy. So, for example, where are you showcasing in October?
Oh, so we're going to be next week. Mostly the U.S.
Right.
A lot of police and state police that we're going to do demos. We are also going to be doing demos to some federal government agencies.
Right.
This week, next week. Then we're going to be exhibiting at IACP. So actually we have this week AUSA. We have presence. I'm not going to be there, but our salesperson will be there showing the product at AUSA in Washington. And then the IACP Denver, which is next week, which is the chefs of police. We're going to be demoing that. And then we're going to other police, other locations. And then we're going to be also demoing at UTAC, UTAC, that is in Georgia. So it's a 4-day event that we will be doing live exercises with police forces, with federal agencies. They're going to be doing the exercises, and we're going to be there to show the product.
So what do you need in order to sell a product which is like a defense tech or dual use product? Like how difficult that is? Because like sitting in Krakow from Polish perspective, it sounds really, really hard.
It is. And actually, so we are also speaking with a lot of business partners, companies that can help us. Interestingly, there's a lot of products that we help each other. For example, cameras, outdoor cameras, motion sensors, gunshot detectors that we can automate the whole process. There's a gunshot that we're doing right now, and we're partnering with those. So, for example, the gunshot detector is a great example. A gunshot detector detects the use of a firearm. It alerts police to come to the area that it was detected. So what we can do is the moment that we're connected, we're in the same position, same location. So think of schools, universities, places of worship like churches and so on. You mount this next to the gunshot detector, and if it detects that, the drone goes up in the air immediately, transmits directly to the command center live view. So now you know where people are congregated, where people are running to, and so on.
Right.
Motion detector, think of a border. When there's motion, usually all the cameras are on our human plane field that they see at an altitude of 1, 2, 3 meters, and they just focus on the one specific area, one specific zone. But now we can just launch and start searching for a specific area. So if there's a car or there's a human in an area, it doesn't need to be a border. It can be also perimeter protection.
Right.
So these are the companies that we're partnering with. And we're partnering with European companies, and we're partnering with American companies. When we're partnering with the European companies, they're mostly focused in Europe. And we're telling them we're from Europe and all that. I think we get excited. I had conversations with a company out of Estonia, a company out of Czech Republic, and they both like, oh, we're not. How are you doing the U.S.? It's so complicated market. We've been focused mostly in Europe, and I hear that in my experience after being here for a while. And we did exhibit 2 years at MSPO in Kielce in Poland at the Defense Military Show.
Yeah.
We've exhibited in Prague. So we do have contacts. We've done a lot of stuff already here in terms of sales, marketing, before the product was ready. And my experience is really that the US market is much more advanced, mature, shorter sales cycle than the European one. So to your question, a company out of Poland, how isn't that complicated in the US? I would say the contrary. It's easier to sell in the US. So we are part of NATO.
Right.
Poland is NATO. So our products are NDAA compliant, meaning that they're not made in China, they're not made in a foreign country. You can trace everything is made in Poland.
Right.
We're even thinking of establishing a small production line in the US to that matter. So the US is not complicated. It's an easy market. It's they buy there with credit cards.
Right.
I'm talking about police stations, fire stations. They have a credit card. Here you have to go to a tender.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, but there's no other competition. You still have to go to a tender. There's processes. You have to sign this. You have even a demo. Very complicated to do a demo to a police station because you have to sign that that you're not, or you have to charge money. So it cannot be. It's complicated, and the lead times are crazy.
So, in other words, like in US, with small scale purchases, there are like units that can purchase your product that you can pitch to. Right, and they can make a decision to buy
up to $10,000 without any approval.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
So you can go to many police stations, get 10,000 like that.
Right.
But the idea is not just 10,000. The idea is that they like their product. So our goal is right now. What keeps me out at night, if before was making the product reliable or not reliable, making the product fly. Right now it's feedback, getting it reliable with feedback so that the customer has a positive feedback so that it really saves lives. My biggest concern, my biggest scare is that in an emergency, somebody's drowning or a house collapse or an accident on the road and the police needs to launch it immediately and it doesn't work. That is my nightmare. And then he just go to throw it on and he says, oh, piece of shit. I don't want to use that. That is my nightmare. So everything that we're doing is getting that product to that level that it's gold, that it will, like a gun, very rarely does it jam. Like a walkie-talkie, very rarely will jam. You need to rely on it. It's a tool that first responders or military will need to rely on.
Right. So do you basically envision like every first responder to have a DefendEye with them in order to like support them in their daily operations?
So my dream is that starting with police cars, so every police unit, police car will have a kit in their trunk, because usually police are first on site, first on any scene. If it's an accident, robbery, a house that collapse, uh, natural disasters.
Right.
Usually, police are always first to arrive, and it gives them a perspective immediately of bird's eye view, what's going on. It gives the perspective of the command center, what's going on. It's cheap enough that if there's really a bad situation, they don't have to worry to collect it. Just let it fly. It will automatically land. There's no technology inside. There's no recordings inside. So if somebody picks it up, they'll find a piece of plastic, wood, and some big electric motors. It's not worth a lot. They're not going to be able to reuse it.
Right.
Oh, of course, it is reusable. They can reuse it. But what I'm saying is that it's not expensive, so it can save lives. They can or help them do their jobs, and that is I think that is the goal, that every car has it. Worldwide, like really worldwide. I think that will make much easier, faster the response time, saving lives, understanding what's going on a different level. How many times have you heard that somebody was injured or lost and they couldn't find them, or when they found them it was too late, or when there was a house that collapsed, they didn't see there was on the other side, or survivors after a hurricane. The people that are flooding, that you don't see, it was too late because of flooding situations. Right. You get there, it's too late. They're already drowned. You don't see them. This gives you that immediately bird's eye view, what's going on. You can take it really far away. You can have multiple. You can have a lot of these fly that coexist at the same time. But yeah, that is my primary goal.
So we do not see it too often in Poland. But I know that there are companies like Skydio in US that are doing an amazing job with supporting first responders already with their drones, with their like an aerial view. So are there any benchmarks or other companies you think that you might compete with, or do you feel it's like a blue ocean?
No, it's not a blue. We're still competing with I think worldwide, not even in the US today. I was amazed at how many DJIs police still have.
Right.
Their primary, I met 2 weeks ago, a month ago in Vegas. I met with them, and they're still using primarily the DJI. So I still will say that our first competitor is DJI. That is our first. Skydio and Eric, and there's many companies out there. Even in Poland, there are other companies who manufacture. In Europe, they manufacture drones. In the Baltics, there are companies who manufacture drones. They're just either too big, too expensive, so they don't really fall in that category of somebody can carry it with them. And if the small personal category drones, they're still too expensive. They're still too hard to pilot. They still take time to launch. And again, they're mainly focused is to be able to fly it. They're trying to make a really good drone that you can go like this and in between trees and go like this. We said, okay, we're more of a tethered drone. Think of it as a tethered drone, but it's virtually tethered. So there's no real cable, and you can fly really everywhere. And you can maneuver it. You can still have the ability to take it to different places. But I'm not going to say it's a blue space, blue ocean with no competitors, because DJI is a competitor.
Right.
Existing cameras are a competition. So, when you have a camera, whether it's on the car, whether it's on the fence, those are real competitions today. But they don't solve the problem that we're solving, which is a bird's eye view. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So maybe just one more question about the market. A lot of people that see the market like a defense tech, dual-use market from outside, they hear about, amazing rounds, and the real race, Helsing. They hear about, from our area, like ISI raising with a 2.5 billion valuation. These are like amazing companies, right? But there are over like 500 defense tech companies that raised this year.
Yes.
They've raised like $15 billion. Like, it's a lot of money. Like, and probably a lot of investors out there are wondering whether you feel there's a bubble, right? Whether it just makes sense, whether it can be utilized. I feel you partly answered the question, because DefendEye is not exactly competing with all of those startups. But then again, I'm wondering, from your perspective, being from inside, Do you feel that there is a bubble and this market
On the
is like
specific defense or on drones? Because it's two different questions.
you can answer
So
how
I
they
would
fit.
say let's start with the easiest. Drones are today 2025. We do not live on a saturated drone market.
Okay.
The moment that you look out the window, and you're going to see the moment that you look out the window, instead of birds, you see drones flying around. That's when you start to think, okay, it is saturated. I guess today the drones are very similar to what the world was in cell phones in terms of saturation in late 1980s, early 1990s, where nobody had it,
Okay.
only the rich, and that is what it is today. Only the rich have drones, and I'm not talking about rich individuals, but rich companies.
Okay.
Firefighters or police in Europe mostly do not. At the station level, they do not have a drone. They have for a region or for a state, but not for a state for a city. In Germany, for example, in all Bavaria, they have one team. All Bavaria, they have one team of drones. But if you go to Munich or you go to Stuttgart, by the city itself, there is no drone team, multiple per station.
Okay.
So the rich have it, the little, because it's expensive. Expensive to maintain, pilots, and so on. So that's the drone. In terms of the defense, I don't know when let's call it the aggressive cycle that we have been on since the Russian invasion started, when it's going to end. We don't know what's going to happen between the US and China.
Right.
We don't know with Taiwan. We don't know. You hear every day, just yesterday weekend, we heard Pakistan, Afghanistan. So now there's peace, Israel, Palestinians. But, something new is popping up. And there's still the Russia invasion going on. They're still teasing Europe with drones or with technology or threats. And,
Right.
so when that ends, usually that's the sign that you're after. Until that ends, the bubble can still, it's not a bubble. I mean, I think that we are in a different scenario right now. I mean, this is more politics conversation, but
Sure.
we are on a scenario where after World War II, mostly on the West, US was on the raise arms. I guess let's say Russia and China, they added that up. But every other country that was involved in World War II, other than them, they completely stopped spending in military completely.
Right.
So in Europe, Japan, they decided to spend their money in people, in welfare, in social welfare, and more socialist features that you have, that you see that today. And so what happened was that when Russia invaded Ukraine, Europe woke up without any military.
Right.
Germany, France,
Yeah.
UK. How many tanks do they have combined? Nothing.
Yeah. So basically, like you've answered the questions from like geopolitics point of view. So of course, being in Poland, everyone lives with that right now.
True.
But then again, from investors' point of view, I would be a little bit hesitant to invest in a drone company right now, because it's so many of startups, very early with their early prototypes, with their early ideas, and it sounds like, okay, the idea makes sense, but there's a lot of those guys out there. But then again, what really persuaded us to invest in DefendEye, besides of course you personally and the team and and the mixture, is that you kind of you do not compete with all of those guys making military
FPV drones,
FPV drones, etc. Like you found a niche which apparently, as we both believe, will grow into a huge market.
Right.
But then again, like it feels like you are somewhere close to the market. But then again, you are like a truly dual use startup.
Truly dual use.
Yeah.
I think that was what we wanted to do. A dual use, that if tomorrow everybody decides to lay off their weapons, put off their weapons, not protect anymore, not buy drones for surveillance, which is not the case, as I mentioned. Even if the war tomorrow, Russia-Ukraine ends, the wake up call has come. You need to have a protection. So military-wise, you need, and who better to protect than a surveillance product, right? An attack product. So I think that we are really good marketed, positioned for the next decade, to even 2 decades, to become perhaps a leader in this personal surveillance gear that you're protecting. Whether you're protecting, as I mentioned earlier, you can protect a border, you can protect with this solution, but also to the soldier level, he's protecting himself, or he's in a whatever landmark he is at, and he's protecting it. He hears somebody shooting at him. What are his options today?
Right.
Get ISR, some big airplane or big drone to fly, or launch. Okay, if he needs to launch, he needs to have a pilot. This is today, a pilot or a DJI, whatever. And there is nothing out there today that gives that solution to him.
Yes.
That is also relatively cheap enough so that if he is engaged and he doesn't look after it, sure, there's $20,000, $50,000 products for soldiers, but it doesn't scale.
Right.
So it's all about scaling. And then we have the dual use, so the civilian use, that I think that it's a completely new category that not only first responders we answer, but it actually answers. There's a lot of use cases, whether it's on the land, but also on the sea, man overboard, that we want to address. On the first responder side, that there's a lot of players on the table that we haven't even addressed. But then there's also the commercial value of it. For example, that we're not planning to address today, but there's the farmers, there's the construction workers, there's the maintenance of farming sites, maintenance of electric grid, solar panels, all of these. I had two possible investors came to me and said, "Listen, I am a hunter. I'm waiting for the deer to come. Can I launch it? Can you program it to detect a deer? Tell me where the deer is, so it's flying up in the air, and I know where the deer is, so I can shoot him." And so again, there's we're not doing that, but still, the uses are, we can go so much with this.
The first idea, the first use case that really convinced me was when we used to have like a lot more incidents on the border with Belarus, right? Because the problem is that the people that come to cross the border, they will cross somehow, they will find a way, and the surveillance cameras that are only on the fence, like they lose track of those. So
what about areas that there is no fence?
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, we see that they're crossing, and then we lose them on the way because we don't know what they just run straight forward, right? So if we had a DefendEye on the fence, like we would just keep track on them, being the drone, having a drone, just directly
know where they are, where they're hiding, or where they went. Yeah, we can track them. We can go after them. We can. This version goes for about 1.5 kilometers, so that's a lot already.
Yeah,
and it gives you enough time from the moment it's launched to when you have backup.
Exactly.
Whether it's a truck, a car, or Jeep, whatever, it gives you enough time to know which direction they went.
We've talked about the business. We've talked a little bit about the market, about what DefendEye really stands for and visions. But then again, having you here, I really wanted to ask some questions also about, you're an experienced entrepreneur. Not that often we have someone from the US coming to Poland to build up, and you are also a hardware founder, right? Your experience with building the hardware startup. So, can you maybe share a few tips and tricks? Like what would you point out to those founders that are maybe a little earlier than you? Just starting out, thinking about their business. Like, what would you encourage them? We tell that hardware is hard, but
hardware software. My background is hardware software cloud. So I guess my two tips is that you have to understand that if you have to, I guess, accept that you're going to be working very hard, very, very hard, that there is no weekends, there's no holidays.
Right.
That you're going to have to accept that you're going to get pissed at your employees or your partners if they're going to take off a vacation or if they're going to take off a holiday. That is the kind of person you need to be. You need to strive. you need to strive or work very hard. That's the number one. You need to be a leader that you can make your partners, workers, work very hard. The second and the most important lesson that I would say is that your biggest enemy is time. It's not money, it's time. That is your biggest enemy. Because if you can do everything, and I'll give you one very simple example. If I could have done this in one day, I don't need all the money for development. So I don't need money, I need time.
Right.
Anything that I can do fast saves me money. And so time is your biggest enemy. It's not just about saving money, it's about being first in the market, because the moment that any idea that you have, there's 20, 30 people out there probably in the same neighborhood already working on that. So time is your enemy in every possible aspect of everything. And until you truly understand that time is your enemy, not money, then you have maybe a way to succeed. But money is also very important. It's extremely important. And I think that understanding that more money is better. Never say no to money. It doesn't matter valuation. I was on my previous companies that I did, I was fighting for valuation. I can say, sorry for the language, fuck it.
Okay.
Just get the money. Really, do whatever it takes to get the money.
So would you say you would have a better outcome raising for Bluvision, or?
I wanted a valuation of 20 million. I couldn't get it.
Right.
I had offers to buy the company from other, already 2014 from Square, 2014 Google, who we discussed an M&A possibility with them. But I wanted over 20 million. But at 5 or 7, I could have sold it. Or when I started to raise money, I was in Miami, very hard to raise money. I always wanted 20 million. And when investors ask me, how did you get to this valuation? I had revenue. I was selling Bluetooth beacons, but I was not selling the entire story. How did you get to that valuation? So it was a number that I was fixated by, and that was my mistake.
Right.
And when I came here, and we did with you guys and with others, I didn't care about the valuation. I just needed the money fast. Let's just get money. Let's get onwards. Make everybody happy. Get the money in, and worry about time. Again, time.
Right.
And scale and all that. But yes, the only thing is I can tell you, work hard. Get people that can work hard as you, that you trust, and time.
Perfect. Jimmy, thank you so much. It was really a pleasant talk.
Thank you.
I haven't asked half of the questions I had in mind, so probably in a year or so, maybe we can have like a second version and second time. So it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks once again, and let's talk in a year.
Let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.